today I'll be showing you 6 new dump and go slow cooker recipes. And I know a lot of people just like slow cooking in the winter and in the fall, but seriously, slow cooking is actually one of my favorite methods of cooking in the summertime, just because you are able to beat the heat. So I hope you enjoyed this video today, and let's go start slow cooking. We're kicking today off with these amazing barbecue pulled beef sandwiches. So to begin, we're going to start on the dry rub. In this little bowl, I added a tablespoon of brown sugar, a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, a tablespoon of paprika, and a teaspoon of chili powder, onion powder, and garlic powder. Then I gave this seasoning mixture a really good stir. I have my 6-pound chuck roast right here, and I am going to rub that seasoning all over the front and the back of the roast. And the reason that I am using a chuck roast is because chuck roasts tend to be super duper tender when you slow cook them, so that meat will just melt in your mouth. It will be so good. So I brought it over to my slow cooker and I added it right in there. I'm going to put the lid on top and I'm going to let this cook on low for about 8 to 9 hours, or until it's fall apart tender. But here is what it looks like once it's out of the slow cooker and it is tender. I am just going to bring it over to the side and I'm going to shred this meat up, and I am going to remove any fatty parts of the meat at this point. I discarded all of that liquid at the bottom of the slow cooker. Then I added our shredded beef right in there. I am going to add in about 2 cups of barbecue sauce at this point. You could use any brand or any type of barbecue sauce you love. And then give this a really good stir and let this continue to cook on low for an additional 30 to 45 minutes. I love making these into sandwiches, so I have my hoagie rolls right here and I have my sheet pan lined with parchment paper. You're just going to open the hoagie rolls up and place them on that sheet pan. This is going to go under the broiler in your oven for about 2 to 3 minutes to get the bread nice and crispy so it doesn't become soggy. But once it was out of the oven, I placed some cheddar cheese slices on that bread. Next, I placed that barbecue beef mixture on the cheese, and then this went back in the oven to broil for an additional 2 to 3 minutes to melt the cheese. These are by far the best barbecue beef sandwiches I have ever had. They're way better than any barbecue beef sandwiches that I've had at restaurants in the past. They're just so amazing. I served them with corn on the cob that my husband grilled, watermelon slices, and some of this suddenly pasta salad, creamy Parmesan flavor. It was the first time for us trying that flavor, and we thought it was pretty good. Now we're making these tender pork chops with an amazing yellow rice casserole, and this recipe actually comes from one of my mom's close friends. She's a wonderful cook, but to this bowl, I added 1 cup of Coca-Cola. Next, add 1 cup of brown sugar and a cup of ketchup. Whisk this all together. This is going to be the mixture that goes in the slow cooker with the pork chops. I added my 7 boneless pork chops to the slow cooker, then I poured that sauce over the top. This cooked on low for about 3 to 4 hours, or until my pork chops were cooked and nice and tender. Once my pork chops were almost through cooking, I started on the yellow rice casserole that I served alongside of these pork chops. So to this pot, I just followed the instructions on the back of my 10-ounce bag of yellow rice. I added my oil and my water in, and I just cooked this package of rice up. Now that we have our rice nice and fluffy, I'm going to bring it over to a large bowl and I'm going to add that rice right in there. Next, you're going to be adding in 1 cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. You could always add more or less cheese in. 1 drained can of Southwest corn, and then you're going to be adding in a can of either cream of chicken or cream of mushroom soup, whatever you prefer. Lastly, I added in 1/2 cup of melted butter, and I gave this a really good stir to combine these ingredients. I have my large casserole dish right here. I'm going to spray it with plenty of nonstick spray, just for easy cleanup. Then I added that yellow rice casserole right in there and I spread it out as even as possible. Over the top, I sprinkled about a half cup more cheese on, and this baked in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. And here's what dinner looks like. Those pork chops have a nice, sweet and savory taste about them. I poured plenty of the sauce over the pork chops and the rice casserole. This meal is so good, and I did serve it alongside of a side salad with romaine lettuce, avocado, and tomatoes and ranch. Now we're making slow cooker chicken parmesan. So to begin, I have my slow cooker right here, and on extra busy days where I really don't have time to clean my slow cookers after I cook in them, I like to add these slow cooker liners. I'll have them linked for you in my Amazon store if you want to get some for yourself. They just make slow cooking even easier. But to the slow cooker, I added my 3 large chicken breasts. Next, I'm going to season them with a half a teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, then a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and over that Italian seasoning, you're going to add about 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. You do want to make sure it is the grated Parmesan cheese, not the shredded. And then over everything, I added 24 ounces of marinara sauce. Of course, use any type of marinara sauce you like. This cooked on low for about 5 hours. Once our slow cooker time was about up, I started on the spaghetti. So to my pot of boiling water, I added in a pound of spaghetti and I cooked it according to the bag instructions. Here's what dinner looks like. I topped the spaghetti with plenty of the sauce and the chicken, and you probably know how much I love cheese, so I did top everything with a lot of mozzarella and Parmesan cheese. But I served this with a side salad with lettuce, dried cranberries, avocado, and tomatoes. And then for the dressing, I just did this Olive Garden light Italian dressing. I really like it. I've kind of been on a burrito bowl kick recently, so now we're making these slow cooker burrito bowls. To my slow cooker, I added my slow cooker liner, just for easy cleanup. Then I added my 3 large chicken breasts right in there. Next, I'm going to be adding our seasonings in: a teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of oregano. This is going to be really flavorful. Next, I'm adding in the juice from 1 lime. Fresh lime juice really makes this recipe outstanding. And then add in 1 can of Rotel, a can of drained and rinsed black beans, 1 can of drained corn, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, and 1 red onion. This cooked on low for about 5 to 6 hours, or until the chicken was completely cooked through. But now that we have our chicken cooked through, I'm just going to shred it up. You see here it is so super duper tender. I'm pretty much just shredding it with 1 fork. But after I got that chicken nice and shredded, it was time to assemble our burrito bowls. So in my bowl, I have a little bit of white rice. To the rice, I added some sliced romaine lettuce. Next, that chicken burrito bowl mixture. And then I also topped mine with avocado, tomato, and a little bit of sliced green onion and cilantro. This is the finished product. This meal has so much nutrition in it, and it really is just so easy to make. This is definitely a go-to slow cooker meal for me. Now we're making this sliced sausage with peppers over rice. To begin, to my cutting board, I'm going to slice up 1 red bell pepper, 1 green bell pepper, and 1 onion. Over to my slow cooker, we're going to begin on the sauce now. So to the slow cooker, I added in a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, 1/4 cup of chicken broth. Then for the seasonings, a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, half a teaspoon of fennel seeds, half a teaspoon of onion powder and garlic powder, and then a half a teaspoon of dried oregano. Give this a really good stir. To the sauce, I added in the peppers and the onion that we sliced up earlier, along with a 1-pound package of brats. Normally, I would add in sweet Italian sausage, not brats, but they didn't have sweet Italian sausage at my store, so that's why I just used the brats. I gave this a stir, and this cooked on low for about 6 hours. After the 6 hours of cooking, I removed the sausages, and this is optional, but we do like slicing them into smaller, kind of like bite-sized pieces in my house, so that's what I'm doing now. I placed them back in the slow cooker, then I gave this a really good stir, then it was time to serve it up. We like eating this over a bed of white rice with Parmesan sprinkled over the top, but you could serve this in hoagie rolls, over mashed potatoes, over pasta, or if you want to make it lower carb, you could serve this over cauliflower rice, but this has amazing flavor. Now we're getting started on this chicken with Parmesan potatoes. To begin, I have my cutting board right here. I just cut my 2 pounds of red potatoes into smaller bite-sized pieces. Now over to my slow cooker, I lined it with a slow cooker liner, then I added those potatoes right in there. Next, I added about 1.5 pounds of cubed chicken breast. Over the chicken, I added 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. You do want to make sure it is the grated Parmesan cheese, not the shredded. To season it up, I added a teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, then 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. I gave this a stir and I put the lid on top and cooked this on low for about 5 to 6 hours. Here's what dinner's looking like. I topped everything with Parmesan cheese and cracked pepper. The potatoes are perfectly tender and the chicken has so much great flavor. I also paired this with steamed broccoli on the side. I have so many more slow cooker videos like this on my channel, so make sure you subscribe down below the video so you don't miss out on any more in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.